Hi, small groups. I'm James Frater. My encouragement to you is entitled, Let a Blind Man Help You See Better. I was saved at 17. The more I started to learn, though, the more I realized I was in darkness. I read the book of Acts. I believed all of it. Like the story of Eutychus in Acts 20, who fell asleep during a late night sermon. He was sitting in the window. He fell 3 stories to his death. Paul resurrected him, and then they hung out the rest of the night. Um, but in my life and the churches around me, all I saw was darkness. Just one example, I was unable to change my conduct. Uh, Smoking pot in Leicester, a few examples. I would do well for a bit, but I would always fall back into sin. I was a mess. The lightest wind of adversity would blow me over. I prayed for a year and a half for God to send someone, a man to me, a teacher, a coach, someone who could teach me how to live a normal Christian life. I didn't know what that was going to look like, but I knew I would know it when I saw it. Journey with me for a few minutes as I share with you how I received some spiritual sight. To let a blind man help you see better, our scripture is Mark 10:46-52. And they came to Jericho, and as he was leaving Jericho with his disciples and a great crowd, Bartimaeus, a blind beggar, was sitting by the roadside. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. And many rebuked him, telling him to be silent. But he cried out all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. And Jesus stopped and said, Call him. And they called the blind man, saying to him, Take heart, get up, he is calling you. And throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and came to Jesus. And Jesus said to him, What do you want me to do for you? And the blind man said to him, Rabbi, let me recover my sight. And Jesus said to him, Go your way, your faith has made you well. And immediately he recovered his sight and followed him on the way. Our insights come by asking, what did Bartimaeus do right? Number one, don't listen to the crowd. Social media, peer pressure, whatever. Bartimaeus did not listen to the crowd when they led him away from Jesus. Verse 48, and many rebuked him, telling him to be silent, but he cried out all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. Bartimaeus did not listen to the crowd when they led him toward Jesus. Verse 49, and they called the blind man, saying, Take heart, get up, he is calling you. He didn't go to Jesus because of the crowd. Back to my story. When you show up regularly on time and have passion, people want to make you a leader. I later found out that elders in my small church wanted to make me an elder. That would have been a disaster because I was messed up and I knew it. I steadfastly prayed and seeked out men who could teach me how to be a Christian, still not finding any. So don't listen to the crowd. Then, 2, let go of your safety. Let go of what anchors you to the way things were before. It's like when you're learning to swim and you have to let go of the pier or the dock or the side of the pool. As long as you hold on, you're safest. But you can't have the joy of swimming until you let go. Verse 50, throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and came to Jesus. For a beggar in the first century, a cloak was his most valuable and perhaps only possession. It was his bed, his protection from the elements, and the mat on which he collected alms. By throwing it aside, Bartimaeus was symbolically leaving behind his old life and his means of survival. He acted with anticipation. He didn't wait for the healing before discarding the beggar's garment. He expected to never need it again. In my search for a mentor, one leader named Ed sat down with me to discuss my request. He agreed to help me. Ed belonged to an international ministry. Many of you would know if I said its name. It would have been comfortable and securing. But at our first meeting, we sat down together, and he says to me, "We're just going to kind of learn from each other." I knew immediately, nope, this is not the guy. Because of Mark 1:22, when they were in Capernaum, it says, "And they were astonished at his teaching, for he taught them as one who had authority and not as the scribes." I had to let go of my cloak, and I kept walking to Jesus. So we have, don't listen to the crowd, let go of your safety, and then 3, focus on the heart of the matter. Verse 51, and Jesus said to him, "What do you want from me?" And the blind man said to him, "Rabbi, let me recover my sight." Bartimaeus did not tell Jesus about his years of suffering or how the crowd told him to shush. What would have happened if Bartimaeus had just complained about his problem, his bad treatment, his bitterness? None of that mattered. Bartimaeus stuck to telling Jesus his deepest need. He had his eyes on the prize. Later on my journey, when I was in college, I was going to a small house church, and they had small groups. And one night in small group, it was actually such a small church, we just had one small group, which was everybody. I gave a prayer request that maybe someone there could help me. After the meeting, a couple from the church came and offered to help me. They spoke with authority, but they never forced me. They led by example. This would turn out to be the most important mentoring relationship in my life. So don't listen to the crowd. Let go of your safety. Focus on the heart of the matter. And then lastly, be intimate. Verse 51, the blind man said to him, "Rabbi, let me recover my sight." He ends with a personal address of submission, Rabbi, in verse 51. The original Aramaic is Rabbuni, a term of deep personal intimacy and submission, a title of deep affection and absolute submission. I took a risk and was intimate with my small group by sharing my deepest need. God rewarded me by placing a mentor into my life who truly helped me to learn the ways of Jesus. This week, you can let a blind help you see better. When you don't listen to the crowd, let go of your safety, focus on the heart of the matter, and be intimate with Jesus and his people. Start by engaging with these discussion questions. See ya.